That this speech was a disgrace at the United Nations. Joe Biden walked into the United Nations and slapped a giant kick me sign on Uncle Sam's back. And in particular, as it relates to China, he bent over backwards to conciliate and appease the Chinese Communist Party. He said we don't seek a new Cold War. Well, China has been waging a Cold War against America and our workers and our military for decades. So the question is not whether we seek one. The question is whether or not we will fight back in it.
The United States will compete, and will compete vigorously, and lead with our values and our strength. We'll stand up for our allies and our friends and oppose attempts by stronger countries to dominate weaker ones, whether through changes to territory by force, economic coercion, technical exploitation, or disinformation. But we're not seeking, say it again, we are not seeking a new Cold War or a world divided into rigid blocs. The United States is ready to work with any nation that steps up and pursues peaceful resolution to shared challenges, even if we have intense disagreements in other areas.
We need to pursue dialogue and inclusiveness over confrontation and exclusion. We need to build a new type of international relations based on mutual respect, equity, justice, and win-win cooperation.
So you're talking about a man and a regime that has crushed Hong Kong's autonomy and freedom, that is sterilizing religious and ethnic minorities in northwest China or putting them in gulags, has destroyed thousands of Christian churches across China, yet he presumes to lecture us, and that's because Joe Biden's administration basically accepts those terms. Yeah, we're not going to rescue the Democrats in their efforts to try to implement the largest tax hike in history and spend $6 trillion on things like welfare and health care for illegal aliens, or welfare for deadbeats who won't work or even look for work, or tax credits for rich people so they can buy electric cars. If the Democrats want to spend $6 trillion on a party line basis, then the Democrats can raise the debt ceiling by that much on a party line basis to cover their own reckless socialist agenda. Right now, it looks like the Democrats are in total disarray, not just on that infrastructure bill or their massive spending blowout, but on the simple act of trying to keep the government funded next week, even though they control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Republicans have cautioned them for 2 months now that we will not help them implement this reckless $6 trillion spending plan by raising the debt ceiling. It's time that they took it seriously, that they funded the government to keep it open past next week, and that they avoid any kind of default on our debt next month.